When you look around and you see people stuck in the same place you were 10 years ago and you know the way through, you don't just sit on that information and keep it for yourself. Now, in a very watered down way, that is what brought me to life coaching. I'm going to make it make sense though, and I'm going to share a little bit of background about what that journey looked like. As a young 20-something, just out of the military, I was doing really great things in a career I was pursuing, and I was quickly climbing the ladder by standing out amongst my peers, while I was also going to school for baking and pastry arts so that I could open my own bakery. Full blown, had every intention to open my own bakery. I had a concept, I was recipe testing, I had a complete business plan, I even had a name for my bakery. So just a few years into this scenario is when my husband told me that he wanted to re-enlist in the Army. Now, I will say this up front so there's no misconceptions. My husband has always been supportive of me and my choices. He has always valued what I bring to the family, but that honestly felt like a punch in the gut. I had a great, stable job I had worked really hard in, and his re-enlistment would change everything, especially for me. So, of course, there were many pros and cons to both scenarios, and we really had to weigh those things, and we did. Long story short, he and I agreed that that was the path that we would take, with the understanding, especially on my part, that everything I had worked for now was going to be taking a back seat. So fast forward to when our first kiddo came along, it made sense for us that I would become a stay-at-home mom. Now, that wasn't an easy decision, and it wasn't one that was made overnight. The plan had always been for me to go back to work. We had moved to duty stations in that time, so I was going to be looking for a new job, and that was fine, except that we got hit with a hiring freeze. And that got pretty difficult to pursue that job search. So I had toyed with the idea in my head for a long while about becoming a stay-at-home mom before I could get comfortable enough with it to bring it out in the open between my husband and I. Gratefully, to my relief, my hubs was immediately on board with the idea. And surprising for me, staying at home with our baby fulfilled something that I had no idea I even wanted in motherhood. Also, though, I pretty quickly found out that there was a huge gaping hole left where I didn't have that outside purpose I was pursuing. So where I had spent a lifetime pursuing my own endeavors and living a very independent life, now I wasn't pursuing anything that I was passionate about outside of being a mom and a wife. The truth is, I was feeling like what I was doing with my days wasn't as important as what my husband was doing. I was feeling envious that he was making a difference and I was making a cozy home when I had so much more to contribute and the desire to do so. I was feeling frustrated that I had all of this background and potential and desire to grow as a professional, yet there wasn't a clear vision of what it would look like for me to pursue that without having to leave my little dude in someone else's care. If any of this sounds like something that you've experienced or similar to your situation, hit the like button and let me know. At the time, work from home opportunities weren't nearly as prevalent as they are today. Still, I explored a variety of ways to make money from home and pursue a purpose outside of raising a family. And I am happy to share the details of that along the way, but they are plenty and a little bit lengthy, so ask me later. But ultimately, it was the need to have something that belonged to me and also allowed me to be home with my kids that led me to life coaching. Now, even life coaching itself has been its own journey of exploring how I wanted to coach, who I want to coach, and it has shifted quite a few times over the last few years. What I realized, though, at the core of everything was that having a way to fulfill my own desires now, not later, in a way that also made sense for my family gave me everything I needed to be happy and to be able to continue to show up for others. It was because I was filling my own cup that I still had enough left over to share. Now, I know for a fact that so many moms and military wives are waiting for some day. Meanwhile, they have lost so much of what brings them joy as an individual in that process. I know that they absolutely can have both now, not later. And that is why I coach women who still have school-aged kids on finding that work-life harmony so that they can have their cake and eat it too. See what I did there? Because I'm a baker. If you'd like to talk about your own way forward, schedule a free consultation call with me. The scheduling link is in the description.